Today, we're going to talk about something truly monumental, the creation of the Constitution of India. I mean, just imagine the sheer scale of that task, trying to write a single rulebook for a brand new nation, a nation with hundreds of millions of people, finally free after centuries of colonial rule. It's an incredible story. Seriously, just think about that for a second. How do you even begin to write a rulebook for a country of 300 million people? A country with so many different languages, religions, and cultures, all coming together as one independent nation. Where do you even start? Well, that was the enormous challenge facing India's founders.
This whole thing didn't just happen overnight. The idea was first floated way back in 1934 by M.N. Roy. A year later, the Indian National Congress officially demanded it. But it took until 1946 for the assembly to actually form. And from there, it was a complete marathon of drafting and debate until the Constitution was adopted in 1949, and India officially became a republic in 1950.
So who were these architects? Who were the people actually given this massive responsibility of designing the blueprint for modern India? Let's take a look. 389. That was the initial strength of the Constituent Assembly. These members were drawn from all over, from the British-ruled provinces and from the many princely states. That number alone just gives you a sense of the sheer scale of this whole nation-building exercise.
So, the elections in 1946 decided who got a seat at the table. And as you can see, the results gave the Indian National Congress a huge majority, 208 seats. The Muslim League got 73, and the rest went to smaller parties and independents. This political setup was, of course, going to be absolutely crucial in shaping the debates that followed.
And here's what's really amazing. Even though the members weren't directly elected by every single person, the assembly was designed to be a mirror of the nation. It was an incredible cross-section of Indian society. You had Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Parsis, Anglo-Indians, Indian Christians. Everyone was represented. It also included representatives from scheduled castes and scheduled tribes. And, so importantly, it included 15 women. Their voices were absolutely vital to the entire process. Okay, so you have the people. But before you can write a single word of law, you need a philosophy, right? A guiding star. And that came in the form of the historic Objectives Resolution. Picture this. It's just a few days into the very first session. Jawaharlal Nehru gets up and tables this resolution. I mean, just listen to those words, firm and solemn resolve. You can literally feel the weight of history in that moment. This wasn't just another speech. This was the foundation stone for the entire nation being laid.
So what did this resolution actually promise? Well, it really boiled down to 4 core ideas. First, an independent sovereign republic, meaning India's future would be decided by Indians, and Indians alone, no one else. Second, that all power comes from the people. The government works for you, not the other way around. Third, a solid guarantee of justice, equality, and freedom for every single citizen. And finally, and this was crucial, a promise to protect minorities, backward, and tribal areas. These 4 promises really became the soul of the new constitution.
With that philosophy locked in, the really hard work began, drafting the actual articles. So let's talk about how this massive document was actually built, brick by brick.
2 years, 11 months, and 18 days. Let that sink in for a moment. That's how long it took. Almost 3 full years of nonstop work, debate, discussion, and refinement. It just shows you how dedicated the framers were. They knew they absolutely could not rush a document that was meant to last for generations to come.
Now, the framers didn't just pull all these ideas out of thin air. They did their homework, a lot of it. They actually studied the constitutions of over 60 different countries, picking and choosing the best ideas that would work for India. Things like fundamental rights from the US or the directive principles of state policy from Ireland. They looked everywhere to create something that was uniquely Indian. And if you want to know just how detailed and democratic this whole process was, look at this number, 7,653. That's the number of amendments that were proposed by the members. Can you believe that? Every single clause was picked apart and scrutinized. Now, not all of them were debated, of course, but it just shows that this was a truly collaborative effort. And right at the very heart of this massive drafting process was one man, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. As the chairman of the drafting committee, his sharp intellect, his deep knowledge of law, and his persuasive arguments were just indispensable. There's a reason he is known as the father of the Constitution of India. He was the one who piloted this incredibly complex document through the assembly and got it over the finish line. So, after all that incredible effort, what was the final result? And how do we look back on it today, all these decades later? On November 26th, 1949, the big moment finally arrived. The final document was signed by 284 members. What they created was one of the most comprehensive legal documents in the world, a preamble, 395 articles, and 8 schedules. It was, and still is, the longest written constitution of any country on earth. Now, of course, the Constitution has always been a document of debate. There were criticisms right from the start. Some said it wasn't truly representative because people didn't vote for the members directly. One member even jokingly called the drafting committee the Dristing Committee because it took so long. And yeah, it was definitely dominated by lawyers and the Congress Party, but the positives are just undeniable. It's a comprehensive guide for the nation, it has powerful safeguards for vulnerable people, and most importantly, it's a living document that can be amended and can change with the times. And really, that brings us right back to today. This document, born out of so much hope and intense debate, has been our guide for over 75 years. It's been challenged, it's been changed, but it's still here. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What does this incredible blueprint for a nation actually mean to you in your life right now?